Sorry, I just had to move to somewhere where there was a little bit of light. Tonight I am again talking to you about the Australian Chiropractic College, this time with a focus on future Australian students of chiropractic. There, as you'll know, in Australia there are several chiropractic universities offering a chiropractic degree of sorts, but there's hands down no better place to be than the New Zealand College, and I've been asked this several times over the last few years about from chiropractors where they think if I had a child where I would send them for their education, where I think it's a good place to go to learn to be a chiropractor is, and purely because the New Zealand College is private, is a private institution, and it teaches a philosophy, science, and art purely of chiropractic. There's really a no-brainer. The problem for Australians with New Zealand and vice versa is it's very, very hard to financially be in New Zealand. And what I mean by that is, well, a couple of things. What I should explain is that obviously New Zealand and Australia are very close together geographically. And we have a Trans-Tasman agreement which benefits Australian citizens coming over here and vice versa. And that works out really, really well across the board for a number of things. However, for students, in order to receive any kind of student allowance or be considered to be recognised as a student here, you have to have lived in New Zealand for, it's 3 years now before being able to apply for any government funding. And Australia is not interested in supporting their students financially who go overseas either. So it's very difficult to move anywhere as an Australian student. Obviously, we have programs around the country that will graduate you with a chiropractic degree and allow you to be a chiropractor, but their programs are not as pure as the New Zealand program, which many people know. Like I said, I've had questions from a few chiropractors over time, especially in the last couple of years, about where they should send their their kids. And I can say the New Zealand College, but it's, like I just said, it's very expensive. Having a private college in Australia would obviously be the next, well, is the next best option at this stage. In Adelaide is ideal because it's basically in the centre of Australia and it's at the bottom, so you're close to water, you're close to a beach. I moved from Adelaide to another side of the country to start study, and then I moved over here, and I wouldn't be over here if it weren't for a lot of charity from a lot of chiropractors to help fund my education costs, and I do have a loan to pay them back. So it's worked out really, really well for me, but that's not an option for a lot of people. In fact, it's just not an option at all for a lot of Australian students. If I were an Australian student now considering chiropractic, my options are basically only the universities in Australia, which is quite sad that it's like that the government won't recognise or support students in New Zealand or in Australia, but that's what we're dealing with. So obviously this is Tigger. Tigger likes to talk. So it's very, very difficult for a student to study over in New Zealand is what I'm trying to say. Having the college in Australia combats this. It means that you will get your HECS fees, so you'll be able to study at a straight chiropractic college the way you would any other university in Australia, which is obviously hugely beneficial. It's what we want. It also means that you'll get your student allowance, which helps you to live. Now, I moved over here with with no student allowance, and I had to work full-time, study full-time, and it's very, very hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, and obviously I know that a lot of the great chiropractors have done that, and that's what kind of kept me going, is because I know people have done it a lot before, and I certainly wasn't going to start feeling sorry for myself, but it is hard. And when you have the option to not work 3 jobs and not work full-time and study in a program that is very, very demanding, you're more likely to take the easier option. There's no judgment about that at all. That's just kind of common sense, really. So having a college in Australia will enable Australian students to get a straight education, a chiropractic education, without the burden of moving overseas and not being supported at all, or having to find their course fees up front, because that's what Australian students who come over to New Zealand have to do now. Internationally, I believe it's a bit easier for a lot of people. I know certain countries in Europe are very, very supportive of their young people going and taking up study in another country. I know the same is true for Canada and for the United States as well. So the college in Adelaide obviously will be open to everybody, and it gives Australian citizens a viable, legitimate option to study chiropractic. So this is another reason why it's important to happen in Australia. I talked a little bit the other day about the climate that's happening in Australia at the moment, which is a little bit disturbing. If you are a chiropractor who I'm sure is already sending patients off to chiropractic school, you may have been faced with the question, where do I go? And you may have come up with these problems before. So having the Adelaide College answers that problem for you. Now, like I've said, if we can raise $200,000 by the 1st of December, this is an option that could happen in a year's time. So, it can be that quick as long as we get behind it and we get moving. I've attached the link to the website. I think it'll be above here. We need to get going with this, and we really need to be pushing with this. So the next couple of videos, I'm going to keep feeding you and bombarding you with more reasons why this college is going to happen, why it needs to happen, and also come up with some ways you can raise money. Now, be creative yourself as well and get behind this. Future students of chiropractic, if you want to be a chiropractor and you want to study chiropractic, but you've already had a look and you know the New Zealand college looks fantastic, but realistically it's very hard for you to get over there, this is going to be the answer for you. So you guys as well, start thinking about how you can get excited about being in the first class of the Australian Chiropractic College, what that would mean to you, and what you can do to make sure that happens. Parents of prospective students, same thing. Get involved, speak to your chiropractors, follow the links, see how you can get involved. Any little counts. Chiropractors who are already actively sending the next generation of chiropractors to school, consider this one, because you'll know, I'm assuming, you'll know what the options are, and you'll know the challenges that your patients and your students are facing. What else can I say? This needs to happen for Australian citizens. It'll be open obviously for Australian residents. Adelaide is a beautiful place to live, so that's just a given. We'll talk a little bit about Adelaide another time. Australia's a great place to be, really. It really is. I think we've got 9 out of 10 of the most deadliest animals in the world, so that's exciting. But it's not that bad. It's really fun. Beautiful weather, really beautiful people in Australia, lovely people in Adelaide. In Adelaide, you've got beaches, you've got wineries, you've got the city. There's everything there. accept a chiropractic college, but that's coming as long as we get behind it, and it can come. Here you go. It can come as soon as, like I said, in a year and a half. So the other option is that we wait for about 4 years, in which case you guys who are thinking of joining would be nearly through the program. So let's get active and let's start really doing things and pushing and getting behind this cause. Follow the link above, and thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from you all soon. And tomorrow there will be a video, I promise you, that is more exciting than this one, and I won't look as exhausted as I am. Okay, everyone, have a great night and give a lot, live a lot, and be brilliant. Thank you. Bye-bye.